Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to AstroBeauty, where makeup and moon signs come together in a fusion of makeup-y astrology awesomeness. So, for today, in this episode, the moon is in Taurus. And so today we will talk all about Taurus. We will talk about how Taurus makes me want to dress, do my makeup, and what's happening while the moon goes into Taurus this month, and specifically for all you Taurus people out there. So, I'm going to put my face makeup on, and when I'm done, we will do that. I will see you guys in just a minute. And here we are, back again for another exhilarating episode of How Can I Match My Makeup to the Moon Sign? Today, in the spotlight, the moon, it is Taurus. Taurus, Taurus, Taurus. Now, what does that mean for us the next few days as the moon goes through Taurus? And what does that mean for my makeup? Well, let me do my little 4-minute astrology intro because that's always what it seems to be. And here we go. So for me, for Taurus, today, I, as you can see, am feeling quite put together. Taurus is one of the two signs that's ruled by Venus, which is the planet of feminine energy, things that are beautiful, beauty generally. It's one of the two signs. The other sign is Libra. And the difference between Venus in Taurus and Venus in Libra is that in Libra, Venus is an air sign. So to me, Venus in Libra just cognitively knows what beauty is and how to find it and express it. But Taurus, on the other hand, is an earth sign, and it's the second sign. And to me, Taurus is much more about like building and cultivating and creating beauty, like with your hands or with the resources that you have. Like, to me, it's the second sign of the zodiac. So if Aries is, the spark of life that starts it all off, like, then what? Then you have to build something. And so when I think of Taurus energy, I think of all of the beautiful creations that we see around us, and that someone had that vision and used their own resources, their body, their mind, the tools around them to create something of beauty and functionality in the world. So when I think of Taurus, I think of someone, especially strong Taurian people, who cultivate beauty, who know how to put beauty together because it's just what they do. It's like, I feel like people with a lot of strong Taurus energy can be really great artists, or like architects or builders or designers, or just anything that requires like an artistic creative ability to create and manifest beauty. Okay, so that being said, for my Taurus look today, I kind of wanted to play off some inspiration of a Taurus person in my life who I totally admire. And generally, Taurus is one of the 3 signs that I feel like when you're a woman with a lot of that energy, you have it together. Like, you just have it together. You always look great. You're always on point. You know how to style yourself. You know how to style the world around you. Also, a lot of like interior design and stuff like that, I feel like goes with the Taurus energy because it's creating beauty in a living environment. And Taurus has to do with our security too. So like any type of cultivating beauty and building beauty and manifesting creative potential, basically. Taurus. So that being said, for my look today, I kind of wanted to play off some inspiration from someone I know who's very strong in their Taurus energy, and she totally has it all together, and I want to be like her. For me, I'm like totally striving to be a Taurus. My North Node is in Taurus, and I admire the Taurus energy, and I gravitate towards it, and so I'm totally trying to get on my Taurus vibe for today. So the vibe I'm going for today is more like sophisticated, classy, kind of like classic style. And my Taurus, she loves to wear suits. She says that her favorite thing to wear is a really nice, well-fitted dress skirt that goes just below the knee and a pair of boots. And while I don't have any suits, and I've never had a reason to have any suits, I still really like that idea, and I really like that concept, so I'm going with it. And I'm wearing this little suit-ish type jacket, we'll call it that. And I'm just hoping that it's good enough for the vibe that I'm going for. And also, I should say, I'm wearing pink because of Venus, and Taurus is a sign where I always want to wear pink, and so I'm wearing pink. But if you can see, I'm not just wearing any pink, I'm wearing bright neon pink. Why? Let's think. We'll talk about it in just a minute. So in terms of my look for today, that's what I'm going for. Well put together, classic, feminine, pretty, but grounded, earthy, and ready to create, build something beautiful. And that's what we're going to do with our eye look today. So we've talked a little bit about Taurus. We've talked about the basic vibe. Now let's talk about the makeup. So for my eye look today, I'm doing something a little more complicated than I usually do. I'm going for sort of a toppy, shimmery, smoky eye. And I just feel like it will be very feminine, very earth-based, also super pretty, and I feel like that would just be a very Taurus thing to do. So that's what I'm going to do. I am going to use I'm going to use 2 palettes, I think, well, 3. I'm going to use most of those colors right here along this side. This is what I'm going to build my smoky eye from in my Pacifica Pink Nudes palette. And I'm also going to use this one shade down here from my Beachy Punk palette for a shimmer because these are mattes. And then I think I'm going to go into my Barbie palette and use the shade Role Model just to kind of go over it. And I don't do smoky eyes very much because I just sometimes feel like it's a little much for my day-to-day. Like they look very bold sort of on me. So I'm really going to try to like downplay this a little bit, maybe a brown liner instead of black. But yeah, we'll just see how it goes. And anyways, I'm trying to be sophisticated and classy and feminine, and a smoky eye is like one of the most classic makeup looks ever. So that's what we're doing for Taurus. All right, let's get started. Now, the first thing I need to do is prime my eyes. I use this eyeshadow primer, Magic Eyeshadow Primer from the All Natural Face. I already have makeup on my fingers. Ugh, sorry. And so let's start talking about the astrology really quick while I do this. So I said Taurus is an earth sign and it's ruled by Venus. It's also a fixed sign. And right now, generally for all of us, everywhere, Uranus, the planet of shakeups, surprises, and ultimately putting things right, like it's kind of the planet where it makes you make the changes that you need to make, whether or not you want to make them. So that's what Uranus does. It's a very erratic energy. Like, for you Taurus ascendants, with Uranus in your first house, there's a chance that you just may not be like sleeping because it is all the electricity, all of the energy, and right now it is just like running through your body, but we'll talk about that later. For now, we need to say that at first I'm going to talk about the astrology generally as the moon goes through Taurus, and then I'm going to talk about how it specifically affects you guys. Ascendant in Taurus, moon in Taurus, or like sun strong planets, stellium in Taurus. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my pink nudes palette, and I'm just going to use this top color as kind of an all over base to get started. So right now, there's 3 things that I want to talk about that are happening the next couple days as the moon goes through Taurus. Firstly, the first thing it will do is it will conjunct Uranus, because Uranus is in the early degrees of Taurus. So, and Uranus is also retrograde right now. So that will happen, and when the moon conjuncts Uranus, that's like a trigger point every month, because the moon activates things because it moves so quickly and it represents like the emotional feeling frequency. And a lot of times the emotional feeling frequency is what motivates people to do things and things to happen. So yeah, first the moon will conjunct Uranus, and and that is a time each month when we can experience some type of shakeups, depending on where that is happening for each of us in our lives based on our house placement. I'm just going around my whole eye on this, and I didn't pat it off enough, and it just like went in my eye. So that is happening first. So Taurus moons each month are kind of like a big time to watch what happens collectively and in our own individual lives, because it is the conjunction with that Uranus. All right, now I'm going to start my first color for my smoky eye, and I'm going to use this second color right here. So that will happen, and that could possibly trigger some changes in some area of your life, unexpectedly, possibly accidents, just things that are sort of necessary to get you to the place that you need to get to, even though you may not know what that is yet. Uranus always puts things right. My teacher always says Uranus puts things right. And so I always say Uranus puts things right, even though it never feels that way in the beginning with Uranus. So we have that monthly transit that's coming up. Simultaneously, or not simultaneously, but soon after that, something else is going to happen with the moon in Taurus, and it's going to form a grand trine in the earth signs between the moon at 21 degrees of Taurus, Mars at 21 degrees of Taurus, or Mars at 21 degrees of Virgo, and Pluto at 21 degrees of Capricorn. So that is significant, in my opinion, because two of those planets are trigger planets that make things happen. The moon, like I just described, because it's an emotional planet, it moves really quickly and it can cause changes in feelings that manifest in like actual people doing things. And then Mars is the planet of action, passion, anger, war, battle. You know, if you just watched my last video on Aries, I talked a lot about that. Okay, so this is my first shade. I love this color. I use it, this color right here. I love it as like a crease color or even just on its own. If I'm going for like a supernatural look, I use it all the time. So that is happening. And let's talk about what that means for all of us. Okay, and this is kind of just like how I feel about it, thinking about it. Because even though the moon is in Taurus, because it's Pluto and Mars that are forming the grand trine, it's more like Scorpio. Because Pluto and Mars are the rulers of Scorpio, the Scorpio energy, the Scorpio frequency. So which is the opposite sign of Taurus. So even though it's a Taurus moon this month, that moon in Taurus forms the grand trine, which is a facilitating, like it's not the most difficult aspect. It helps things happen. And because it's happening in earth signs, that's also like earth manifests things. Like it forms things, it makes things concrete and like tangible. So with that grand trine with Mars and Pluto, and then the moon in Taurus, that to me feels like we're going to have a much more scorpionic vibe over emotional, deep, penetrative, action-oriented, like passionate, to get to the root of things on an emotional level kind of feeling for this Taurus moon. And it will be interesting to see how things play out with this grand trine, because the moon, Pluto, and Mars, like that's quite the dynamic there. You know, Pluto, okay, I need to make up. I'm going to now do like right in my crease with this next color down. And then I'm going to use this color. I'm going to line my eyes with this color. So I'm using the whole side of the palette. Isn't that awesome when every color works perfectly together? All right, and I'm going to use this here little elf. It says it's a blend brush, but for me, it's going to be a crease brush. Yeah, Pluto purges things and it goes to the depth, like it wants the truth, like it wants to see what's underneath there so that it can purge it out, clear it out, and regenerate it. And then Mars puts a lot of energy and action and passion into things. And then with the moon, that's our emotions, feelings, all of that. So, I don't know. What do you guys think? I feel like it's going to be a pretty deep moon. A deep moon. And depending on where those planets fall for you personally, like what part of life, it will give a better idea of how the frequencies will play out for you. And I will talk about that for you ascendant in Tauruses shortly. For now that I have mentioned, and I also wanted to say that, yeah, I just feel like with Mars trining Pluto and the moon, there's going to be a need to like take action to like clear something out from an emotion, coming from an emotional level, like an emotional need to take action to like purge something. And that, because it's happening right after the conjunction, the moon conjuncts Uranus, something that has happened with that conjunction may be what triggers the emotional situation that's going on with the moon. What do we think so far? I love these browns, and I love these browns, and I also love these pinks. That was a lot of work to say that. All right, other eye. I feel like if I go any darker, I'm gonna look crazy at jujitsu practice in a couple hours. Not jujitsu practice for me, unfortunately, for my 6-year-old. So yeah, something that may have happened with the Uranus conjunction possibly could be what causes the need to emotionally purge something, or the need to purge something because of an emotional need, and to like really make it like lasting and concrete because it's an earth signs. I don't know. Virgo, Capricorn, Mars is in Virgo, Pluto's in Capricorn with Saturn. I mean, the moon will trine Saturn too, and the south node, and it will also sextile the north node. So because it will sextile the north node also, and because of all the trines, it's to me like the changes that do happen this month are very, like, they're being highly facilitated and helped on like a higher level us to get to where we need to get to so we can get to that north node, which is where we're going after the purge from Pluto and Capricorn and the south node in January 2020, which you hear me talk about every day, and you will hear me talk about every day going forward for a while. Okay. Oh, it is looking so nice. Maybe I should do smoky eyes more. I don't know. We'll see after I get the dark colors on there. All right. And then the third thing that I wanted to say, and this is, we'll see. But the ruler of Taurus, like I said, is Venus. And Venus, during this time, comes to exact opposition with Chiron. Venus has moved into Libra. So she's in the other sign that she rules right now. And she's come into opposition. I have like another mirror over here. My light like makes shadows, so I can't see that well in my little mirror sometimes from this side. Yes. And so she's in Libra, and Chiron is in Libra also. I'm liking so far. And they're opposing each other. And Chiron is the like wounded healer teacher archetype, like the archetype of like coming to your full potential because you've been through so many experiences that you've cultivated the most tremendous amount of wisdom, and you can come into your like true mastery is how I see Chiron. Like, and not only, and he was the teacher of the heroes, like the Greek heroes, like the true teacher of teacher, healer of healer, master, wisest person ever, like master of all, master of like all things, Chiron. And so, and he also rules finances and money, and I think because of his, like, to me, his association with ultimate fulfillment, like becoming the best that you can be, and the like abundance that would result from that. He's also said to be a ruler of Virgo, which I also feel like that sign is about coming to refining things and coming to like a more full potential. And it also has to do with money. But yeah, Chiron, the wounded healer master archetype, full potential, like Chiron to me is what we all are striving for and trying to become through all of these changes, sort of, that or not. You mean, or going the other way and not. But if we are like embracing the frequencies and kind of striving to get on our path, like I feel like we're all trying to become our own Chiron, like whatever that is for each of us. And I want to put makeup on, but I have a stream of thought right now, so I'm conflicted. But I'm just going to talk. And Venus is what we desire, what we like, what we find attractive. And so for Venus to be opposing Chiron right now while we have this grand trine going on, and also just after the Uranus, I don't know. Like, I feel like maybe we're coming face to face with our true potential, possibly, and maybe finding a desire to become that and strive toward that, especially with the sextile to the North Node and all of this that's going on. I don't know. I try to be an eternal optimist. I mean, it's also like with Pluto and Mars, like in the moon, things could also go like a very different way. Because, you know, like feeling Pluto, Mars, there's always potential for that too. But here on AstroBeauty, we like to keep things beautiful and paint beautiful pictures of reality, because you never know. If you paint it, it might come true. If we put it out there and project a beautiful outcome, then maybe that's what the world will create for us. Just like our AstroBeauty makeup. Okay, I need to get back to the makeup. I've said everything that I want to say generally about the moon going through Taurus for like everybody, the general astrology. It's going to conjunct Uranus, shake up surprises. It's going to form a grand trine in earth signs, manifesting things, forming things with Pluto and Mars. So that's like in the moon. So that's like emotionally driven to purge things, and it's facilitated. And because the moon will also sextile the North Node, it will also trine Saturn in the South Node as it goes through Taurus, but the exact conjunction will be Mars, Pluto, and the moon on the 19th, I believe. So, and then simultaneously, so you have, and then there's a sextile with the North Node. It's a trine, so it's all facilitated. And then simultaneously, Venus is opposing Chiron. It could be a good thing, you guys. Beauty on our faces, beauty on Earth. Okay, so let me get back into the makeup. All right, so I'm going to go back into this shade, and I'm just going to take it around my eye a little bit. And then I'm going to move into the darker color in the corner. All right, so now let's talk about you guys who are Taurus ascendants, and based on your potential most likely house placement. And I'm just going to pull this out a little bit because I want it to be more like, you know, out to the corner. So, okay. For you guys, this will be happening as the moon goes through your first house, because your ascendant's in Taurus. So the moon in Taurus will be in your first house, or it could be in your 12th house, but it will be both because the moon moves pretty quickly. So right now for you guys, like I was saying earlier, you have Uranus in your first house. And that is probably causing all types of shakeups and changes in who you are, or more importantly, who you thought you were. Or maybe that's less important at this point. I think it's probably less important at this point who you thought you were. Because Uranus is going to make you someone completely different. And not only someone completely different, but someone who you truly are and someone who you need to be. Because we need you, and you need to be your most authentic self so that you can contribute Uranus, your own unique personal contribution to the whole energetic flow. Spoken from an Aquarius. Now, I didn't say why I'm wearing bright pink. I'm wearing bright pink because I wanted to wear pink because I love wearing pink, and I can only wear pink a couple times a month, like when the moon is in Venus signs. But I'm also wearing bright pink because Uranus is in Taurus, and so Uranus like electrifies things. So I was like, hey, you know, let me just electrify things. So I'm electrifying my shirt, and I'm wearing as close to a dark blue blazer type thing as I owned, okay? Because I am just trying to emulate the style of one of my beautiful favorite Taurus people. And of course I have to throw a little Aquarius Uranus twist in there. And I'm sure I'm extremely far, but I'm doing my best. Okay. Now, I pretty much have this around my eye how I want it to be. Oh my god, I just thought I wasn't recording. I've done that before and it's like, why? Okay. Alright, I'm just going to go over my eye just a little bit to kind of like blend this out before I keep going with more colors. Alright, so you guys have Uranus in your first house. So when the moon goes through your first house every month, when it comes through your sign and it conjuncts Uranus, there's a good chance that that time of month is always a little like maybe anxiety, maybe like things just randomly happen. It's hard to say with Uranus because Uranus like comes out of the blue. It's very sudden. It's very surprising and shocking. But I would think, where's my little brush that I love? Here it is. I would think that each month when the moon trines Uranus in your first house, because it's your physical body, that you would feel how I feel a lot, which is like, I can't contain the energy inside my body. Like, I need to run and jump and flip, but I can't because I'm so tired because I have all this energy going on all the time and I can never relax. And even more, I mean, you know, with the moon and conjuncting Uranus in your first house, your body is like on blast by all of that Uranus energy right now. And you're a vessel for that. And that's probably pretty intense for you. So don't think that you have some like weird health problem going on. It's probably just Uranus in the beginning of your sign, especially if it's like right conjunct your ascendant and hasn't really started moving through the first house yet. You're probably getting some type of like rewiring, like on an electromagnetic level. So, or like recircuiting of things in your body. Upgrade. I don't know, software upgrade, maybe. Who knows? Getting ready for the purge, the grand conjunction with Pluto, Saturn, South Node, January 2020. Apparently for you guys, ascendants in Taurus, you guys need like a recircuiting of your system to be prepared for that. That's pretty big time. All right, now I'm going to go into this second to last color right here. And I'm going to do like a V sort of on my eye. Or the corner, I don't know what you call it. Yeah, so you guys, like, I love you Tauruses. Like I said, with my North Node in Taurus, I just admire and emulate you guys. You guys are so cool. Especially with Uranus, my ruling planet in your first house. Well, I'm actually ascendant in Gemini, so he's not technically my ruling planet, but I feel like it a lot. So we'll just go with it for the point of this discussion. Yay, I think it's going to be downplayed a little bit like I wanted it to be. I have never done a smoky eye with this palette before. It's probably because I don't ever really do smoky eyes. But you know what? I probably should start in honor of Taurus if I want to learn to be more classic and sophisticated and classy feminine, building beauty everywhere that I go. And I do. Yes, so moving on. Don't be surprised if you have some type of like shakeup or something going on for you over the next few days while the moon goes through your sign. And then, like I was talking about earlier, for you guys, that grand trine is going to form and your first house is going to be involved because the moon will be in Taurus in your first. So it's going to have to do with your personality, like how you interface with the world is the moon. You're going to feel emotional about that while you, like, okay, so for you, most likely because of the way your house placements are, if you're an ascendant in Taurus, it's very likely then that Mars will be in your 5th in Virgo and that Pluto will be in your 9th in Capricorn. And I'm just bringing this like halfway across. Can you guys see that? I'm going to put a different color over the top to kind of blend it together. A shimmer, a top shimmer. So yeah, it's going to be your 1st house with the moon, your 5th house with Mars, and your 9th house with Pluto. And I'll just say now, I guess, so for you guys, when the grand conjunction of Pluto and Saturn in the south node of January of 2020 occurs, it will be for you guys somewhere around like your 9th house, possibly your 9th house, maybe closer to your 10th, but most likely your 9th house. And for you, that means something to do with knowledge, wisdom, your greater understandings of things, how you perceive reality is going to be fundamentally changed in some type of way. And that needs to happen in order for you to be able to proceed onto your north node of your destiny, which is being facilitated greatly this month by the moon in the 1st house with Uranus and then forming that grand trine and the sextile and everything that I've been talking about. All right, I think I'm good on that dark right now. I'm going to go under my eye with it a little bit. So with Mars then in the 5th, like to me, generally, I mean, we could go into a whole discussion, but I'm not going to right now. But generally, if we're going to put one word on it, creative expression, like creativity, is kind of how you'd summarize the 5th house. And like I said, the 9th house could just be summarized by knowledge, wisdom. So, and then the 1st house is your personal like connection to the world, like how you express yourself, your personality. So for you in the 1st house, something like emotionally driven, like in its earth sign, so like manifests outwardly in your personality or something that facilitates a creative expression, creative endeavor, the 5th house, that facilitates some type of regeneration in your viewpoint, knowledge base, wisdom, perspective of things, maybe? Looks nice. All right, I'm going to go over the top with, actually I'm going to blend it a tiny bit first, and then I'm going to go over the top with that color. Yeah, so the first, that's like something about you. Creating something that purges knowledge, transforms knowledge, regenerates knowledge, regenerating knowledge through creative action from emotion. I don't know. I feel like you guys need to use your emotions to do something creative, and maybe it will change your viewpoint on reality. Maybe it will help you gain knowledge. I don't know. All right, so there's that. Now I'm going to take this really pretty, like, shimmery top color right here. Taupe, and put it over my whole lid. All right, so there's that. You got Moon and Uranus conjuncting. And then, I don't know, maybe the Moon and Uranus, whatever happens, will inspire your feelings that make you do something creative that changes your knowledge on something. Just thoughts. It's kind of a hard one. It's not like super clear. Could probably go a lot of different ways. Aside from that, like I said, your ruling planet Venus is opposing Chiron while this happens. Ooh. Your ruling planet Venus is opposing Chiron while this happens. And Venus rules money, finances. Chiron rules money, finances. And for you guys, Chiron should be somewhere in your 12th house in Aries. And Venus should be somewhere around your 6th house in Libra. And so the 12th and the 6th axis is highlighted for you. And so with that, with your ruling planet in the 6th opposing Chiron in the 12th and the 6th axis is highlighted for you in terms of your ruling planet in full view of your true potential, I guess. And so that, to me, your ruling planet with your true potential is like you're undergoing, like it's like marking an opportunity, or it's kind of showing that your heart is ready to align with your true potential. Like everything that's been happening in Uranus and the moon and the trine that you guys are making natally to that Saturn-Pluto South Node because it's in Capricorn, another earth sign. Maybe this Venus-Chiron opposition in the 6th and the 12th, that's like everyday life, and the 12th, Chiron in the 12th, that's like your true potential is transcendence, basically. And the 6th Venus is like everyday life and everyday what keeps you busy on a mundane level, and like how you care for yourself and your body and stuff like that. Maybe now is a good time to, or when this happens, something will happen for you where you start embracing doing the mundane things or caring for your body more or something like that, and like putting more heart energy into that, because maybe that is what can help you to reach your Chiron. I don't know. That's just kind of what I was feeling in that moment when I said that. So I am done with this. I am freaking loving how pretty this is. So yeah, I am loving this right now. All right. Now I'm going to go under my eye around here in it. I'm going to use Role Model, the light color out of the Barbie collection, around this part of my eye and in the very corner. But this now. This color is so pretty. All right, so that is the main things that are going on while the moon goes through your first house. Now for you Taurus ascendants, let's talk real quick about the new moon that happened in Virgo a few weeks ago, and also the full moon that just recently happened in Pisces, and where that energy was playing out for you, just so you can have an idea, even though they're both past now. But, oh, this is looking so nice. All right, now I'm going to use, wrong one. I'm going to use this darkest color out of the bottom down here, and I'm going to use a little bit of setting spray on my brush, this little teeny brush, and I'm going to do a liner with it because I don't have any dark brown liner right now, but that's what I want. So I'm just going to use this. All right, so for you guys, this happened in Virgo. The new moon happened in Virgo, and like I just said, because, well, we were talking about Libra, scratch that, not like I just said. The new moon happened in Virgo, and so for you, well, I guess kind of like I just said, it will happen, because that's where Mars is. It will happen in your 5th house. It happened probably most likely in your 5th house. And the 5th house, like I said, if you're going to generally just slap a label on it, it's our creativity. But I would also, it's our creative expression. It's like our personal expression, like shining for who you are, putting your creative abilities, talents on display, like shining a light on, I mean, it's Leo, so it's the sun. It's the only sign, it's the only sign that's ruled by the sun. So it's like full light, full heat. It's a fixed fire sign. And I'm talking about the sign of Leo because that's the sign that the house corresponds to, the 5th house. And so for me, it's basically all forms of creative expression. So over the past new moon, you may have felt creatively inspired. You know, maybe you are like feeling like Taurus, like really into, you know, fashion or designing right now of some kind, or drawing, painting. Like maybe you were really into one of your creative pursuits, 5th house, or something that makes you feel creatively inspired. Maybe you were putting a lot of more energy with all the planets there into things also that you find joyful and fun. Because the 5th house rules like games, sports, entertainment, stuff like that too. So there's a few ways that it could go, but mainly just like what makes you happy. Like Leo is about like personal happiness, like personal desires, what you create and what you enjoy. All right. Now I'm just going to go under my eye with this a little bit. And so it's possible that you may have been wanting to put more time and energy into things that are creatively inspiring to you, or things that you just enjoy. And that's a really good thing for you guys, because you have Uranus in your 1st house. And that's really hard. So you need to have some things that you enjoy and that make you feel creatively inspired, because maybe that can be some type of outlet for all of that Uranus energy over the next 7 years. Really. Because Uranus takes you on a trip for 7 years in some direction, some new direction. And that's happening for you guys in terms of your personality. So, maybe. All right. So that was the new moon. And so that was may have been unfolding for you over the month until we got up to the new moon that just happened in Pisces. Which, if the new moon was in your 5th house, then that would, in Virgo, that would put its opposite in your 11th house in Pisces. And so with the energy in your 11th house, the full moon, you may have been, we also have to remember that the full moon was with Neptune and the black moon. Yes. And it was opposite to all of the planets, Mars, Mercury, Venus, all of the planets in Virgo. And it was square to Jupiter. And so with all that happening in your 11th house of hopes, wishes, dreams, things bigger than goals, like groups, causes bigger than yourself. The whole, basically, it also is like the whole of everything. You may possibly have been like struggling on feeling sort of like the 11th house, like your unique contribution, Aquarius, like how you fit into the whole, the 11th house, or like how relevant or valid or necessary, like what you bring, Leo, Aquarius, 5th, what you create, Leo, Aquarius, how relevant or how good that is compared to other people, or to in terms of like the whole. With the black moon there in the 11th, I could see there being a shadow around your creative endeavors and your creative pursuits. And with all of that energy from the new moon having happened in your 6th, I could see the potential to be feeling very insecure, possibly, or just unsure of the relevance, like I said, or the necessity or the significance of what you've created, which is not true. We need what you've created very badly, especially with Uranus in your first house, because Uranus brings the future, and you're bringing the future through being you right now. So don't stress out or worry about not being good enough or not having a significant enough place or role in the whole. That was a cute rhyme. Because your reprogramming and what you're getting and the messages that you're getting, the higher octave frequencies you're getting right now, they're being, like, with the fifth, Mars is in your fifth still with Pluto and the Grand Trine and the Moon. Like, your creative endeavors, what you bring from a creative energetic level is incredibly important to all of us, because in terms of knowledge, because of Pluto up there in your ninth, that's where you guys are hosting the energy. So your Uranus is channeling through you things that can be emotionally created through Mars, and they bring knowledge, transformational knowledge. So don't be feeling like down on yourself in any way if you feel like what you're doing is not significant for some reason to, like, the collective, because it is, for sure. That looks so good. Can't see it so well on this side. So that's pretty much what I have to say about the full moon for you guys. All right. So that's pretty much what I have to say for you guys about the new moon and the full moon, 5th and 11th. Creative energy for you guys. And also Aquarius, you know, hopes, wishes, dreams, things bigger than ourselves, the whole, that was the kind of things that you guys are dealing with during this new moon cycle and full moon. Okay. Yay! We're getting close, and I'm getting close to being done. All right. I just wanted to say, actually, let me just do this real quick. This looks so pretty. I'm going to put a tiny bit more of this top shimmer on now, just because it's so pretty. All right, so the last thing that I really wanted to touch on for you guys is that, I mean, I kind of already did, like, I've kind of already said all of this, but just to reiterate, for you guys, you have your big, like, purge transformation and whatnot most likely happening in your 11th or in your 9th house of knowledge. So you're going to be, like, learning things that, like, are mind-blowing, basically, and transform the way that you perceive reality. And that transformation and your knowledge and your perception of what's real are going to be what facilitates you to come to the place that you need to come to in order to get to your personal internal evolution that we're all going through in different ways. Yours has to do, in my opinion, the way that I see it, with your belief systems, what you believe to be true. There needs to be some type of fundamental change that happens with what you believe in order to release you from your shadow and let you purge, restructure, retransform. That's just how it plays out for you guys. It's in a different house, different area of life for everyone. And I think that with Uranus in your first, that's playing a role. Yeah, because it's the water bear, the knowledge bear. And then you have that in the ninth. I don't know. I just think that. And you're in sextile to the North Node. I just think that. Oh, this is looking so good. All right, lastly, I'm going to go into this here little love of mine. This Barbie palette. And I'm going to use this little guy brush right here. And I'm going to go into the shade Role Model right here. I love this one. Sorry. I love this one, and it is a fave of one of my Taurus friends, so I'm going to use that today for my Taurus look. And I'm just going to do that like as like the highlight part of it right here. Yes, so pretty. And bring it up just a little bit. Yay. Yay. Have I been calling this role model? This is fantasy. I'm sorry. Fantasy. That's what I've been meaning to say this whole time, is fantasy. This is role model. I always use this one, but today I'm using this one. This is fantasy. Okay. And last but not least, I already sort of mentioned this when I was talking about the full moon, but you guys have the black moon and Neptune right now in your 11th house. And so like I said, that could be potentially messing with like your perception of yourself in relation to other people or the group, and where you fit in and how relevant your contribution is. But like I said, don't get sucked into that. There is literally enough space in the world for every single one of us to be queens in whatever we do best. And us trying to become the most true and authentic version of ourselves makes us uncomparable. Like, there are always things about everybody else that are going to be better than everybody else because everybody was born to do something a little bit differently, but every single thing is completely necessary, or else none of the rest of it can happen. And so, you know, instead of maybe like comparing yourself to other people and like sizing yourself up in terms of your contribution and other people's contribution and where you fit on the relevance scale of things, maybe just focusing on becoming the very best that you can be of what you are authentically are. Because if you can be your best and you're doing what you're meant to be doing, then there is nothing more relevant than your contribution, no matter how small it seems or what it is. So yeah, and like, it's kind of trying to tell you that because you have Uranus in your first, which rules the 11th house. It rules Aquarius. It represents unique expression, and it's in your first house of your personality. And then you have this black moon and Neptune in the 11th house of, you know, hopes, wishes, and dreams, because I feel like it's because we all want to like make the biggest contribution that we can to the whole. It's like our like have the best experience that we can, like subconsciously, like our hopes, wishes, and dreams. Like, we want to become our best because that's what we're here to do and add to the collective. So I feel like a big message Uranus is trying to bring you right now is to be your authentic self and to master your authentic self. Venus Chiron. And that could be what unlocks the knowledge that helps you purge and transform to reach your personal evolution like we're all doing. So that's my little stream of thought for you guys today. Now let me get back to this makeup. I'm almost done. I need to, oh my god, I never curled my lashes. That is so annoying. I'm gonna curl my lashes, and then I'm gonna have to go in and do a really fine black line across just because I want it to be a little darker on my lash line. I don't do smoky eyes much, but maybe I should. Just looks so pretty, and you do get to use more colors when you do smoky eyes. Yeah, so that's basically the astrology for today, or for this month for you guys. That's pretty much what I have to say. I mean, Uranus in your first house. Hello, electricity veins. Yep, I know that it's there. And then you got the Grand Trine in your sign, forming with your sign. And then you got Venus opposite Chiron. So it's a pretty busy time, pretty busy couple days for you guys. All right, so now I have my lashes curled. I am just gonna take, where is my initial blending brush? Here it is. I'm just gonna take this and push up the product just a little bit because I want it to go just a tiny bit higher. I really like it. Taurus, of course I like it. Of course it's something also that I don't normally do because why? I have no Taurus energy except my north node there. So I'm learning. Yes. One day I'll probably do smoky eyes mainly exclusively, but we're not quite there yet. Okay, so let me do this liner really quick. This is my Pacifica Black Liquid Liner. I love this. It is the smallest, most easy to control little pen ever. So nice. Okay. We're getting close. We're getting close. All right, I need to do my mascara. And that, oh, no. I need to do, yeah, let me just go ahead and do my mascara. And I cannot say enough good stuff about this green tea mascara from 100% Pure. I haven't used any 100% Pure products. I used their primer this morning. It was my last dose in the sample pack. I really liked that luminous primer. But I should use a smaller mirror because I can't see what I'm doing. But yes, this mascara is so good. Like at first I was concerned about it transferring, but then I realized like if you get like really sweaty under your eyes for some reason it might. But then I realized yesterday I like worked out in the heat in the summer outside, like went running and got done, and my mascara was still completely perfect. It hadn't ran or anything at all, and I was literally dripping sweat down my whole face. So if you're interested in a mascara that does that, you may want to try this. Just saying. And it smells really amazing. So pretty. Okay, so I'm finished talking about the astrology. I'm going to do a little recap in a minute, but just want to get you guys caught up to speed on my adventures with wool. Our fleece is now dry, and we have begun like picking it out or like pulling it all apart. You take we got a full lamb fleece, like it got like just shaved off the lamb and it was in one piece. And then we had to pick all the dirt and like sticks and stuff out of it. And then I had to wash it like 3 times in a bucket. And then I had to let it dry. And now for our handwork project, we're going through it and we're like pulling it apart and it makes like the stuffing. Like the fluff, like the stuffing. And apparently that spins into yarn, and that's what you can use to make clothes. Who knew? I mean, I always knew, obviously, that wool made yarn, but I didn't know that that's how it really happened. Getting an education. So, yes, me and my son, we spent some time today picking fleece through it, separating it. And then we will be carding it, which is where you put it through like these 2 combs and you pull it through until all the fibers are in one direction, apparently. And then you can like spin it or like use it for whatever. Although I don't know that we're going to get that far because there's so much of it. And I think we're just supposed to use it for the stuffing of our projects. But still, it's quite interesting. So what do we think? It looks lighter than I thought it would. I'm loving this. All right, I'm going to do my under eye, and I'm going to slap on some blush, I'm just going to use my strawberry blush from 100% Pure today. It's kind of like more like an icy, like just really soft, pretty pink. And I'm going to do a light pink on my lips today also, because I don't want to do anything too big with my dark eyes. They actually look much more done and dark and smoke eye in this mirror than they do when I look in here. And I do have jujitsu practice in an hour. So I actually probably need to try to wrap this up pretty quickly. All right, so I'm going to do my little recap for you guys now, since I've done the astrology and I'm just finishing my makeup, okay? And then I'll do my makeup recap when I'm done. So for you guys, first of all, generally, as the moon goes through Taurus, it's going to conjunct Uranus. It's going to conjunct Uranus, and then it's going to form a grand trine between Mars. Where's my setting powder? Here it is. Between Mars and Pluto. So that to me is going to make this moon, this Taurus moon, seem a little bit more actually potentially like a Scorpio moon, because it is kind of channeling. Okay, this is the blush that I'm using, the strawberry blush from 100% Pure. It's a pressed powder blush. Let me just buff out my face really quick. I actually did my face makeup like hours ago because I have so much to do during the day. All right, I'm gonna put this on, and then I'm gonna powder my under eye, powder my face up a little more, put on a lip, and we'll be done. So, yes. The moon in Taurus is going to be, to me, more of a Scorpio moon. It will conjunct Uranus, which could trigger off some type of changes that play into the grand trine in earth signs that is working to emotionally inspire deep purge and transformation. Moon, Mars, Pluto. That's grounded and material and real and practical and actually like real life, has like real life impact. Earth signs. And the moon also will sextile the north node. So I feel like it's like part of aligning us with where we're going. It's like one of those necessary trigger point situations. All right, I'm going to powder just the bottom of my face real quick. And then I'm going to do my under eye. So that will happen. That's a pretty big deal. See how that goes. And then, like I said, Venus is going to oppose Chiron. So kind of like aligning our desires, what we want, with what we could be, our potential, our ability to master ourselves. Interesting, right? We'll see how that goes. I already said kind of how I feel about that, but we'll see how that goes. All right, so that's basically the generals that are going on while we have the moon there. And then for you guys, Taurus ascendants, first of all, the new moon happened in your 5th house. So creative, like things that inspire you creatively, creative pursuits, creating something, playing, doing things that you enjoy, being on stage somehow, showing, like presenting something that you've created, something like that. Energy towards stuff like that this past month since the new moon. And then with the full moon in Pisces with the black moon and Neptune, there could have been some type of like shadow around trying to figure out like where you fit into the whole, or how you'll ever be able to make your hopes, wishes, and dreams come true, or how relevant your unique creation, what you've created, what you do is. 5th house, Leo, Aquarius. So yeah, that's kind of how I feel about the new moon and the full moon for you guys. Now, in terms of you personally with the moon this month, of course, Uranus is in your first, probably driving you crazy. And the moon will conjunct that and probably like put an exclamation point on that a little bit more. I'm sure you're very excited about that. And it could possibly trigger changes that play into the grand trine that happens to you in your first house with the moon, your fifth house with Mars, and your ninth house with Pluto. Something to do with some way that you're feeling affecting your personality or your personal expression, or causing you to create something or do something, make something, be inspired, creative inspiration about something that leads to some type of transformation or change and purge in your belief system or your knowledge base. Those are based on the house, the activation. It could go a lot of ways, but that's just kind of like general. All right, so let's do lips. I'm going to do just a pink lip, and I'm going to do this Mineral Fusion pencil in the color Splendid. It's like a pink. And okay, so we're lined. And now I am going to use the shade, the Burt's Bees Crayon Sedona Sands. I'm going to use this again, just because I want more of like a nude. And then I have like a shimmery taupe color that I'm going to use over the top. I was going to go with pink. I realized, I don't know, I should go with like taupe instead, because that's my look today. And Lord knows, I've already got pink. Very bright pink. All right, now I'm just going to blot this a tiny bit. And I'm going to use this in the shade, this Burt's Bees Crayon, in the shade Outback Oasis. And yes. And this one's a shimmer or a gloss crayon. They have matte and gloss. And there it is. What do you think? What do you think? Do we like me on my trying to be like more sophisticated and classy and, I don't know, professional lady who like makes creations in the world, makes things happen type of thing? It's kind of what I'm going for. Alright guys, so here I am. Here's my full look for today. My full Taurus, sophisticated, classy woman who creates beauty and makes things happen in the world of things, earth sign vibe. I am wearing bright pink, bright neon pink, because Uranus is in the sign of Taurus, and Uranus rules electricity and bright colors, so I thought I had to throw a little Uranus feature in there. And I am totally wearing this like nice coat blazer top type thing in a dark blue, because I want to be more of the things that I said before. If I had, and I'm wearing it with jeans, but if I had a nice skirt to go with it and some boots, I would be feeling really good about myself right now with the look that I put together to go with it, which is a top shimmer smoky eye with dark browns. I used 2 palettes mainly. I used pretty much all the shades down one side from the nude pink palette from Pacifica, and I used 1 top shimmer shade from the Beachy Punk palette from Pacifica, this one. Oh yes, because I'm an all-natural makeup channel, and I only use all-natural makeup products because I don't like chemicals getting absorbed into my pores, going into my blood, and being filtered by my organs. Not into that. So I used, to create this top smoky eye look, I used the whole left side of this Pink Nudes palette, that shade out of the Beachy Punk palette, and right around the corner to highlight, I used the Fantasy color out of the Barbie by Pure palette. That was my eye look. I used a tiny bit of black Pacifica liquid liner, and I also used green tea mascara from 100% Pure, which I absolutely just love for my mascara. For my blush, I used 100% pure pressed powder blush in the shade Strawberry, and on my lips, I used the Mineral Fusion pencil in the shade Splendid, and then topped it with 2 Burt's Bees crayons, the first in Sedona Sands, and the second in Outback Oasis. And that's my look for today. In terms of the astrology, I already said, but I will repeat one more time. As the moon goes through Taurus, it will conjunct Uranus. It will then form a grand trine with Mars and Pluto in Earth signs. Emotions, actions, passions, and purging, clearing, getting to the root of things so things can be transformed for the better in a grounded, manifesting way here on Earth because it's Earth signs, okay? And there's also an opposition between Venus and Chiron. Both of those things rule money. Venus is what we like and desire. Chiron is like true potential, master, teacher, healer, all of that. So what we like and desire is in full view of true potential. So I'm hoping maybe that will play out for some of us too, especially you Taurus ascendants, where Venus is your ruling planet. We should also watch things that happen with money at that time because both of those planets rule money. So that's interesting. In terms of you, Taurus ascendants, the new moon happened in your 5th house. You may have had a lot of energy around creative pursuits, creative endeavors, having fun, things that give you inspiration. Taurus, art, design, colors, music, things like that. A lot of energy towards things like that. The full moon happened in your 11th house with Pisces, with Neptune and the black moon. May have you feeling sort of confused or illusory or maybe completely clear also about where you fit into the group dynamic and how relevant your unique contribution, what you create potentially, is to the overall collective good. That's kind of that shadow right now in the 11th, how I see it. Or maybe like if you'll ever be able to reach your dreams. But you don't need to worry about that because you have Uranus in your 1st house, which is upgrading so much about you personally. And then you have the Pluto Saturn transformation going on in your 9th house of beliefs, knowledge, wisdom, all of that. So I really think that what's happening for you with Uranus in your 1st house, and then every month as the moon goes through Taurus and conjuncts that Uranus, especially with this month, with it forming the grand trine between your 5th and your 11th axis. With the 11th house so in the spotlight and Uranus in your 1st house, it just seems like something to me about something about your personality and how you perceive yourself as fitting into a whole is getting rewired right now so that your belief system can change. Saturn, Pluto, South Node in the 9th. So guys, that's my video for today. The moon in Taurus, the makeup in Taurus. I have a top smoky eye and kind of downplayed neutrals to go with my bright pink Uranus and Taurus shirt and my blue, dark blue jacket. I hope to see you guys next time for the moon in Gemini, and until then, Astro Beauty out.